You're listening to Four Things to Know, a WCCO daily news podcast.
Today is Thursday, February 26th. I'm Maria Lizignoli.
And I'm Johnny Connor. Thanks for listening to Four Things to Know.
Number one today, the Vice President of the United States was in central Wisconsin. Vice President J.D. Vance is visiting a machine facility in Plover, Wisconsin. That's just outside of Stevens Point. The Vice President went there to talk about some of the Trump administration's accomplishments.
I believe most people, most human beings, most American citizens, whether they got a D next to their name or an R next to their name, or they have no political affiliation, they're good people. They love our country. They want our country to thrive and prosper. But I got to tell you, after the State of the Union, I'm not so sure that is true of the congressional Democrats that we saw at the State of the Union address. As the President of the United States said very well, you watch their reaction to some of what he was saying, and all I could think was, these people are kind of crazy.
Yesterday, the vice president said that the federal government is withholding more than $250 million in Medicaid money over fraud concerns in Minnesota.
The state of Minnesota is being so careless with federal tax dollars that we have to turn the screws on them a little bit so that they take this fraud seriously.
The vice president and Medicaid services leader say they're temporarily withholding more than $259 million in Medicaid funding. That's the health care safety net for low-income Americans. They say the state has 60 days to show them a plan to address Medicaid fraud. State human services leaders say they've already submitted a plan, and this is on top of $2 billion of federal funding already withheld. And Johnny, that brings us to number two.
Yeah, Maria. Governor Tim Walz says the move is not about fraud, but actually a campaign of retribution. Frankie McClister has more from St. Paul, where Governor Walz introduced his anti-fraud legislative package.
The governor says that this is going to be his top priority until he leaves office, which, as we know, is at the end of this year. He said that today's proposal is simply just building upon what him and his teams have built these past few years. Let's get into details about what it entails. Now, it's in 3 sections, including better detection and oversight, strengthened investigative and enforcement authority, and the third part, increased criminal penalties. Now, Walz made this announcement alongside the state's Department of Human Services Commissioner, Inspector General, and the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension. And this all comes after just yesterday, the vice president announcing the Trump administration will be halting $259 million in Medicaid funding to the state of Minnesota. And today, our governor reacted to this.
But we're kind of at a crossroads on the fraud fight. We saw an incredibly damaging continuation of the reckoning and retribution campaign by the Trump administration, a totally illegal and unprecedented in this country's move around Medicaid.
Now, both sides of the party here under our state capitol building have their own plans to fight fraud. For the GOP side, their top priority is establishing an independent office of the Inspector General, which did pass in the Senate just last year. And they do not know on both sides what exactly that will look like. And as we know, that any bill needs bipartisan support to pass here.
Number 3. A St. Paul woman has filed a federal lawsuit over a protest that disrupted a church service earlier this year. In the complaint, Ann Doucette alleges that 9 people, including activist Nakima Levy-Armstrong and journalists Don Lemon and Georgia Fort, entered City's church during a January 18th worship service and disrupted it with chanting and confrontation. The demonstration came after protesters discovered the church's pastor also serves as a local immigration and customs enforcement official. Doucette says the demonstration caused the service to stop, frightened congregants, and left her experiencing anxiety and emotional distress that interfered with her ability to worship. The lawsuit claims the protest was planned and coordinated, with live streaming and online promotion playing a role. She's seeking monetary damages and a court order to prevent future disruptions at the church. The civil case comes as all 9 defendants face separate federal criminal charges tied to the same protest. They've all pleaded not guilty.
Number 4 today, we're learning more about a crash in Mille Lacs County. The State Patrol says 4 people died in that crash and another has life-threatening injuries. The crash happened on Highway 169 and Shakopee Lake Road just before 7 o'clock last night. According to the Minnesota State Patrol Incidents Report, a Buick LeSabre crossed over the center line and hit a Saab sedan. We also know at least one person was not wearing a seatbelt. The State Patrol is expected to release more information later today. Jason Ransella is covering this for us, and you can look for his updates on air and online at WCCO.com. Those are your 4 things to know today. Now let's check in on our next weather forecast.
Hey guys, thanks for the meteorologist Adam Del Rosso checking in with that forecast. Not bad as we wrap up our Thursday and get ready to head into our Friday. It's been mild. Temperatures not really going to fall too far tonight either. We go from the low 40s this afternoon, only into the upper 20s, close to 30 for our overnight low temperatures. Just a couple of passing clouds. We've got a pretty nice looking Friday on the way as well. It is going to be breezy though. However, those winds initially get our high temperatures up into the upper 40s before they drop us right back down into the 20s for our high temperatures as we head into the upcoming weekend.
Yesterday, the U.S. Attorney's Office announced federal charges against 5 people, all members associated with a gang called the Family Mob, accused of drug trafficking. Court documents reveal the gang was operating for over 2 decades, focused on controlling nearly a mile-long stretch of Lake Street in Minneapolis. Law enforcement executed search warrants and made arrests across the metro. One operation in South Minneapolis at the Abbott Apartments, another caught on camera in Burnsville. The entire operation involving SWAT teams, hundreds of local and federal officers, and 14 warrants. Here's FBI Interim Special Agent in Charge Richard Evanchek and Minneapolis Police Chief Brian O'Hara.
The distribution of illegal narcotics and the spread of violence in our communities will not be tolerated.
There are additional cases being developed that I believe will impact not just open-air drug activity, but open-air drug activity that's connected specifically to violence.
As you just heard Chief O'Hara saying there, he believes more arrests are coming. The chief also says this gang is connected to 2 mass shootings on Lake Street that killed 2 and injured 10 people in September.
A man who is facing terror threat charges for an incident at St. Olaf College has reached a plea deal. Waylon Kurtz pleaded guilty to and was sentenced on 1 count of public nuisance. He was sentenced to 90 days in jail, which was stayed for 1 year. That's a legal court order where a court pronounces a jail sentence but then suspends it, placing the offender on probation instead. Kurtz must complete 1 year of probation and 80 hours of community service. Back in 2023, Kurtz, who was a St. Olaf College student, was arrested for allegedly stocking up on weapons and planning for a mass casualty attack on campus. A judge later ruled that there was insufficient evidence to support the 2 most serious charges. Those were conspiracy to commit assault and threats of violence. But Kurtz still faced terroristic threats and conspiracy to commit theft charges until he reached this week's plea deal.
New details on threats of mass violence at the state capitol from a man with an arsenal of weapons. Investigators say John Tobias threatened to kill a state senator on Facebook if he didn't get the money he says he lost during the 2020 COVID shutdown. Investigators say he then called the Attorney General's office and said, quote, if he didn't get his money back, he was going to the Capitol and would execute everyone in the building. Hubbard County deputies arrested Tobias Tuesday at his home near Park Rapids. Inside, they found 9 guns and 40 boxes of ammunition. Investigators say Tobias admitted to the threats and added that he never intended to kill anyone. He just wanted to get people's attention.
Minnesota's capital city is redirecting funds to help keep the residents in their homes after weeks of uncertainty during Operation Metro Surge left many unable to work and without pay. The St. Paul City Council is partnering with the mayor's office to redirect more than $1.4 million towards the Emergency Rental Assistance Program and staffing. The ERA program was established back in 2020 to support renters during the COVID-19 pandemic, and now it's been revived in the wake of Operation Metro Surge. St. Paul Mayor Kali Herr said in a statement, quote, our residents need support, and freeing up some money to help people stay in their homes is a no-brainer. She went on to say that, quote, now we need more buy-in from the state and federal government to help our communities bounce back. And over in Minneapolis, the city council did approve $1 million in rental assistance for families that were impacted by ice earlier this month.
Well, Johnny, temperatures seem to be warming up.
Thankfully.
And it feels a little bit like spring. So if you're really sick of the winter blues, we have a chance for you to step into spring at the Minneapolis Home and Garden Show. It's happening right now over at the Minneapolis Convention Center, and it's going all weekend long. They've got the 2,500 square foot Idea Home, which is filled with inspiration for your next project, plus plenty of other experiences, including the 7-feature garden, various stages with shows and celebrity guests, and an all-new story time and book booth for kids. Home and Garden show manager Bruce Evans explains what else you can see.
We have about 100 new exhibitors, plus new this year we have a lot of new stuff for families and kids. We have an artist studio for local artists who will be painting live throughout the show, right by the stage.
Again, this is happening all weekend long at the Convention Center. Find more information at homeandgardenshow.com.
Are you going to get a garden going this spring? Any desire?
Yeah, definitely. I don't have much of a green thumb, but I didn't do anything last summer, so I want to give it a try.
That's so funny. You mentioned green thumb. I remember that was in our Bright Spot like a month or two ago. I didn't know what that meant.
That's right.
Do you remember that?
You're like, green thumb? What does that mean? Gardening, good at it.
I would like some avocados. I don't think we can grow those here, but some fresh guac or something would be good.
Dude, that'd be great. I'm going to look that up.
Yeah.
Probably not.
I think everyone listening thinks we're insane.
Stupid.
Minnesota avocados. What could be better? Let's talk sports. The Wild are back in action tonight, Maria. I'm so happy. It's been a while. This is their biggest game of the season. They're in Colorado taking on the Avalanche. The Wild have been trying to chase down the Avs all season long in the standings. So it's a big, big game. And Coach John Hines, he was an assistant on Team USA's Olympic men's team. He says the Olympics was a fun ride.
The only thing that mattered to them was winning, and whether it was the role or the ice time or whatever needed to be done, whatever it took to win, they were willing to do that. And that was a real special part of it. And then obviously the gold medal game was highly competitive, kind of an emotional roller coaster, probably not only for us but probably everybody watching the game. But it's just an unbelievable feeling when you put that amount of work into it in a high stakes environment.
And speaking of hockey, the Minnesota Frost returned to practice. They had a full roster after a handful of Frost players came home with the gold medal as well. Their next game Sunday in Montreal, but we have a bunch of winners here in the state of hockey. I know. We had the most Olympic medals Minnesota had the most Olympic medals out of all the states. And, a lot of them came from all the hockey players on both the men's and women's team. That is crazy. We were the number one in state. We don't have mountains or anything. True. The Timberwolves continue their road trip tonight. They are in LA taking on the Clippers. That's at 9 p.m. And lastly, to football. It's a huge, huge offseason for the Minnesota Vikings. Think how often we talked about the quarterback position, Maria, this season. And obviously the team fired general manager Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah. Right now, they're at the NFL Combine before free agency and the draft. And that means Rob Brzezinski attending the Combine for the first time as acting head of the team's front office. He is the interim general manager right now, but with 27 years with the team, he knows what he wants in replacing the former GM.
It's hard. I mean, we all love Kwesi, and he had a profound impact on our organization, and so that change was hard. But as we move forward, just having everybody understand the alignment it's going to take for us all to work together and make good decisions.
It's time to take a breath with your Daily Bright Spot.
An iconic candy company needs your help to choose their latest flavor. M&M's has 3 bakery-inspired options to choose from for their fall lineup. So here they are. Peanut butter cinnamon roll.
Yum.
Cherry chocolate cake. No yum from you on that one.
I'm still in the peanut butter cinnamon roll thinking about that one.
And the third one is lemon meringue pie.
Yeah, I mean, the order you read those in would be the order that I would order those in.
I think so. Too. I'm not much of a artificial cherry person. I can't do it.
Can't do the artificial
tastes like
cherry.
Cough syrup to me.
Well, it's interesting because they're M&Ms. So
that's true, yeah.
That's why peanut butter cinnamon roll seems like it fits the mold most. Lemon meringue is.
How do you fit that all into a little chocolate candy like that? All those flavors.
What do you mean? All natural ingredients.
Yeah, exactly. A whole lemon meringue pie just stuffed into the M&M. I mean, I'll try anything once.
Hey, we tried those Oreos.
That's what I'm saying. We should try these out. We should go to a place like the Mall of America. They have an M&M store. get a sample, because we can try them out and then vote on which one to choose for the fall lineup for M&Ms. And anyone can do that. You have until May 15th to cast your vote, and you can go to mms.com/vote.
Okay, and my favorite thing about M&Ms, obviously they taste good, but like the crunch, right when you bite into them, it's like the texture is like pop, you know?
And no other candy company can do it like M&M. I seriously feel like they have got it down. M&Ms in ice cream,
yum,
the best.
I like the pretzel ones too.
Oh, those are great too. You really can't go wrong with M&Ms. Oh, thank you so much for listening here to 4 Things to Know with Johnny Connor. I'm Maria Lisignoli. We're here with the news you need every weekday afternoon by 3 o'clock.
Listen to 4 Things to Know, a WCCO daily news podcast, wherever you get your podcasts.